Good morning, everyone, and welcome to day two of the 2022 AABE NYMAC Energy Summit. I am Yolande Cole, and I currently serve as an ITM Business Relationship Manager at the New York Power Authority. Thank you again for joining as we once again discuss the topic of energy in the 21st century, policy, progress, equity. We would like to encourage everyone to take advantage of the summit platform and reach out to your fellow attendees. If you would like more information on any of the speakers or panelists for the summit, please navigate to the speakers and panelists section of the summit platform. So our first speaker for the day is Renee Mcclure. Renee is the Director of Customer and Community Management at National Grid. She is also the Secretary and Communications Chairperson of the New York Metropolitan Area Chapter of the American Association of Blacks in Energy. Please welcome Renee Mcclure.
Go.
Ready?
Yes.
Yes. Good morning to all. Welcome to day two of the AABE NYMAC Energy Summit. In support of our theme, we believe information received from yesterday's session will begin to provide a pathway that leads on a journey to net zero to ensure no one is left behind. Today's sessions are equally engaging as the journey continues. Today's sessions will include the state of energy in New York, diversity and equity in the industry, and finding success as an entrepreneur. Our keynote speaker, Rudy Winter, New York State President of National Grid, will share with you our company's commitment to this journey to ensure no community is left behind. Rudy will also discuss Project C, a new and exciting community outreach commitment initiative which started in 2022. Thank you for joining us today as we look forward to taking this journey together. We know that it will require everyone's involvement because indeed it does take a village to ensure that no one is left behind. Thank you once again and enjoy the rest of the day.
Good morning. My name is Tim Graham. I'm Vice President of Gas Operations for National Grid here in New York. Thank you and welcome to day two of this great energy summit. I would like to describe what I think today is going to be like in one word, and that word is opportunity. I say that because I've been in the energy industry for over 30 years. And for me, I've never really seen companies in our country as a whole so focused on our energy future. When I joined out of college, a company called Niagara Mohawk in upstate New York 30 years ago, I clearly joined a utility, just pushing gas and electric. How much more gas and electric can we push to our customers? Today, though, I can say National Grid, I work not for a utility, but for an energy company. And I think there's a very distinct difference as we move forward. And every company will see themselves not necessarily just as utilities, but as energy companies. The focus today is important because I think it will be about how do we as employees, as communities, how do we share in the opportunities that this energy future focus will bring. Today we have some outstanding panels and outstanding panelists. We'll talk about the state of the energy future in New York and where we are. We'll talk about D&I strategy today. And then we'll also talk about entrepreneurship opportunities. And we'll end with one of my favorite people, our president of National Grid New York, Rudy Winter, with some great words I'm sure he will have. I look forward to a robust discussion today. And thank you for joining us, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Timothy. Our final speaker for this general session is Assemblywoman Latrice Walker of the 55th District of the New York State Legislature. Please welcome Assemblywoman Latrice Walker.
Good morning. It's great to be with you again. I'm Assemblywoman Latrice Walker, and I'm proud to represent the 55th District, which includes Brownsville, Ocean Hill, Brownsville, and parts of Bed-Stuy, Bushwick, Cypress Hills, East New York, East Flatbush, and Crown Heights. I'd like to thank Bill Suggs, the president of the New York Metropolitan Area Chapter of the American Association of Blacks in Energy. You always extending an invitation for me to speak to a group of amazing people, and I appreciate you. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to share just a few things the state of New York is doing to make sure that we achieve the goals set forth by the most aggressive law in America to combat climate change. And I'm going to talk about a few things we still need to work on going forward. Clean energy is an issue that galvanizes people from all walks of life, from downstate to upstate and everywhere in between. It's an exciting time in New York with the promise of an exciting future. Imagine more wind turbines on farms and in the water, more electric cars and buses on the streets, more charging stations, more solar panels on roofs, and more renewable sources of energy. The Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act, which we passed in 2019, is the cornerstone of the state's efforts to fight climate change, which has an adverse impact on public health, natural resources, and the environment, and the economy. The law requires New York to reduce greenhouse gas emissions 40% by 2030, and by no less than 85% by 2050. Compared to 1990 levels, the clock is ticking. So how do we get there? Among other things, the law also created a Climate Action Council charged with developing a plan to meet these benchmarks. The 22-member council voted on December 20th of 2021 to release a draft of the plan, and January 1st marked the first day of the 120-day public comment period. A final plan is expected to be released by the end of this year. I know you all want a sneak peek, right? Right. So here are some of the things that the Climate Action Council is recommending. Increasing the sales of high-efficiency appliances and smart devices. Pushing the retirement of older vehicles. Making all new light-duty vehicles and buses zero-emission vehicles. All new single-family and low-rise homes must have heating systems that are heat pumps. Increasing the capture of methane gas at landfills, which can be used as clean energy to generate heat or electricity, and therefore reducing the need for coal or natural gas. New Yorkers must decrease the number of miles they drive in personal vehicles and lean more on public transportation. That means our transportation has to be reliable and accessible. The Climate Action Council is also recommending transitioning to lower global warming potential refrigerants. Another critical aspect of the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act deals with equity and environmental justice. People may not immediately think of the state's Black and brown communities in the context of clean energy. However, these are the communities that are disproportionately affected by poor air quality and fossil fuel pollution, based on high rates of asthma, COPD, emergency room visits, and other health issues. Case in point, Brownsville, where I grew up, and the community I now represent, has the highest rate for adult asthma in the city. The neighborhood also has double the rate of pediatric emergency room visits than the city of New York on average. Brownsville also has the second highest concentration of residents in public housing in the city. And the average life expectancy in Brownsville and Ocean Hill is 6 years below the citywide average. In this census tract, about 3/4 of the residents are Black. It's no coincidence that our neighborhood and neighborhoods like Brownsville is the same story, of course, in Southeast Queens and parts of the Bronx. And in these communities are communities which the infrastructure contributes to most of the state's pollution. If the state fails to act, these grim statistics will grow worse and worse. Acknowledging this reality, the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act now requires that at least 40% of the state's climate investments go to the so-called disadvantaged communities. What's next? I wrote and distributed a letter last week urging my colleagues to invest $15 billion in the upcoming budget to jumpstart the transition to a 100% renewable energy economy. There hasn't been meaningful legislation passed on clean energy since the CLCPA in 2019. But as legislators, there's so much more that we can do. There's a bill in committee right now that will require municipalities to deny permits applied for after December 31st, 2023 for commercial or residential buildings that are not all electric, unless going all electric is impossible. I'm a co-sponsor of the Clean Futures Act, which would ban any new electricity generating facility powered by fossil fuels with few exceptions. I'm also a co-sponsor of the Teachers Fossil Fuel Divestment Act, which would require the New York State Teachers Retirement System to divest from fossil fuel holdings. The future is clean, renewable, and sustainable energy. We must leave a world for our children and others that is habitable and enjoyable. If not, we have learned nothing over the past year. We must acknowledge that science and technology are our friends, and we must use it to our advantage so that all of us can have access to a better, cleaner world. We must stand against environmental injustice inflicted upon anyone and stand up for those who do not have a voice loud enough to be heard. The road to a cleaner world is one where every resident and corporate citizen have a responsibility to educate themselves and to boldly participate in the creation of a cleaner New York. Thank you very much, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of your sessions. Yes, thank you. Bye-bye.